This project came about when I was contacted by a team of researchers that were working across a number of Australian universities. They had been developing a series of workshops and a series of rubrics that were designed to assist in the teaching and assessing of criteria-based approaches in teaching mathematics at university. Now, as part of the workshop process, they had a lot of input from their colleagues, and they were now at a point where they had a collection of rubrics, but they needed to disseminate their findings in a way that was comfortable, conversational, not too prescriptive. When I first came on board with the project, I spent a lot of time essentially with phone conversations and Skype conversations with the project team, just to determine what they'd actually had achieved so far and what their project aims were, what the parameters were, things like timelines. So we developed a schedule, and more importantly, we looked at the approaches that might be best suited to achieving the project aims. Now, the project team were quite mindful of not wanting to prescribe this is a definite answer, this is the way you do things, because in every Australian university there's so many different possibilities, so many different situations, and so we kind of spent time exploring different approaches and what would be suitable. It was a given that they wanted some sort of booklet, something that would be handy and not just stuck on the shelf and forgotten about, something that was attractive, something that was purposeful and useful, so like a practitioner's guide. So once we had the creative approach sorted, there was a whole list of things to do, mainly to develop, or working with the project team to develop a sample chapter. We decided that there would be 4 case studies plus some introductory material. So once we had a sample chapter, I worked closely with a graphic designer to develop a design approach. So this was then fed back to the research team for approval. We made some tweaks and other amendments, and then that allowed them to continue on with the remaining 3 case studies and introductory content. Meanwhile, once we had a sample design approved, I found some photographic models and some locations to capture some photographs and work with the project team to finalise their content. So in terms of project results, we certainly produced a printed guide which was distributed at a maths conference, and we actually went into a second printing. It was so popular, so well received. The printed guide's not seen as an end point. It's more about starting a conversation around the project aims. So part of that conversation involves a website, which we also produced as part of the project. The website contains straightforward information and background about the project, as well as a downloadable version of the printed guide.